Welcome to another tutorial. This tutorial is a full-length tutorial, so it's about an hour and a half. And in this tutorial, I'm going to be showing you how to design the cover I did of Meek Mill. And before you get started, if you want, go to my website, noiseworks.com. Click on the free PSD. It will take you to the page. And in that page, just enter your name and email. And once you do that, you'll be sent a link of all the stock photos that we'll be using in this tutorial. So that way you can download it and follow along. So pause this video, go ahead and do that, go to my website. And then once you download it, come back and then we could get started.
Alright, in this bonus tutorial, I'm going to be showing you how to create this. So if you take a look at the breakdown, I have the adjustment. Zoom out real quick. Debris and smoke. There's a foreground smoke. Couple glows. The cop car. Main image. The tire tracks. And then a little bit of glow right here, and then the background. So if you take a look at inside the folder, you can see I started with this image. I added the concrete, some vignette, city in the back, some clouds, extra clouds, adjustments, some more adjustment. Here's the glow, tire tracks, and then within the main image, I have the headlights, and then the shadow underneath it, along with some motion blur and tire blur. And then in the cop car, have the headlights, some lights on the sides, the smoke, alright, so let's get started. Alright, let's go to our stock photos and open the original image. And first thing you want to do is add a little bit sharpness. So sharpen, unsharp mask. Let's bring this all the way down. Start with 40. Let's bring the radius up. So about there. So we're just adding a little bit of sharpness. Just click OK. So you see the before, after. And then now we're going to crop it out with the pen tool. Let's go here, select the pen tool. Zoom in all the way. And just go around the image. Crop it out. And on here, since it's white, you don't want to crop it with the red line in it. So you crop it inside, because we won't need that. Just click undo and crop it again. Like right here, just hold Command or Control on the PC and you just move it to adjust it. Same thing, hold Command or Control. And if you want, you can skip this part, and just go to the next one where I start compositing and bringing in the background. Because right now, all we're doing is just using the pen tool to crop everything out. I'm just zooming out, zooming in, just make sure that I'm cropping the right parts of the image. Again, just hold Command or Control. back to the white part of the jacket. Same thing. Make sure you don't crop any of that in it. We just want to keep the white. Alright, just click save. And we still got to crop out this area on the handlebars right here. Some parts back here, right there. And the front. So let's zoom in here. Click undo. Oops. I'm just holding the command and bringing the points down here. Alright, let's zoom out. Zoom back in. Alright. We're just checking for spots where we got to mask out. And I think right here, then we should be good. Oops. I think that's, let's see, one more. Alright, I think that should be good. Now let's go, or actually right click, make selection, feather at 0, click OK, Command J, and then once you duplicate it, I'm going to create a new layer, fill that in with black, Alt Delete, and just check, just go around our mask, and let's invert the black into white, and check on the jacket, make sure you don't see no black lines. So if it looks good on a white and a black background, then that's mean you cropped it out. Save that. Save it as original PSD. Alright. So now let's bring it into a new document and start compositing and adding the background and the ground and everything else. Alright, let's create a new document. Let's go File, New. Change this to pixels. We'll make it 1592 by 894. Just keep the resolution at 72. Just click OK. And let's go back to our main image. Right click, duplicate layer to Untitled. Click OK. Close this. And let's save this real quick. I'm just name this layout. Alright. Let's disable this real quick. Go back to our stock photos. Open our city. Number 2. And just right click. Bring into our main PSD. Close this. Hit Command T. And just bring the right and the left. And as you can see how it snaps into it, to enable that, just go to, actually, click undo real quick, go to View, and then Snap to, and then make sure all these are checked. So now when you hit Command T, and if you bring it in, it will snap to it. So when you bring the left and the right in, go up here to this lock sign, click on that. It'll bring everything down to same ratio. So now to apply it, just hit enter. Zoom in a little bit. And with the selection tool, let's move it up. Make sure the bottom snap to the bottom. And now let's go to our stock photos. Bring in our ground. Same thing, right click, bring it into the main PSD. Zoom out. Command T. Bring the left or the right. Bring the left. Hit the lock sign. Hit enter. Zoom in. And we're going to nudge it up. So we're going to bring it up until this corner match the sidewalk. Same thing right here. Bring it up a little bit. Alright, so now we still want to mask right here so we can show the edge of the sidewalk. And the easiest ways to do that, hit the pen tool, zoom in, make sure that's selected, go over here, select the middle, drag it, and make a point right there, close everything out, enable the ground, right click, oops, go back to our path over here on top. If you hold command or control for PC and select this, it'll make a selection, and with the ground selected, hit the mask down here. Now you can see the edge of the sidewalk. Next one will be the city. Open that, same thing, bring it into our main PSD. Zoom out, Command T, bring in the left, bring in the right, hit the lock sign, enter to apply it. Alright, and with that still selected, hit the mask, go to our gradient, make sure both colors are black, and make sure up here this one selected, and make sure this one selected, not the circle one. So go to our mask, hold shift, bring it up, and now a mask with some feather on it. And once you hit the lock button, disable the lock. If you select the mask with the selection tool, you can move it up or down. So I'm going to bring it down to about right there. And then if you select the city, you can also move that without moving the mask. But I'll say about right here looks good. Go back, hit the lock. Make sure you save it. And let's select all three, group it, shortcut for that Command G. Just name this background BG. Alright, let's create a new layer, and then we'll fill that in with black. Alt delete. Go down here, hit the mask, go to our gradient tool, and this time we're going to select the circle one. So we're going to start from the middle, just bring it out. Alright, that looks good. Change the blending mode to soft light. And let's duplicate it again. Actually, let's work with one first to see how it looks. Alright, now go down here to our adjustment layer. We're going to add a hue and saturation. And we're going to bring that all the way down. And slowly move it up. So about -51. Basically what we're trying to do is just get rid of all the strong oranges and the red, because we're going to make the overall image blue tint. Alright, that looks good. Now let's bring our main image up. Let's enable that. Let's group that. Name that main. And like before, just duplicate this. Just name this the master copy, just in case we need it again. Then select this, zoom out, and you could adjust it by holding shift and option. So now we're trying to place him like he's on the street. And if you go to the corner, you can rotate it. So about right there looks good. Just click save. So now we got the background, we got the main image, and before we start compositing everything else, you want to add a adjustment group. That way you could adjust the overall look, and then you can start compositing. So let's do that. Alright, before we add the adjustment, I'm going to add in one more thing. See, I forgot to add the cloud, so let's open that. And just right click, bring it to the main PSD. Zoom out, same thing, Command T, bring in the left, the right, go up here, hit enter to apply. And let's bring this down over here underneath the vignette. Change that blending mode to soft light. And we should add a little bit of clouds right here. So I'm bringing the opacity down just a little bit, about 78. And let's go down here, click the mask, go to our gradient, make sure both of these are black, and then the gradient selected, and with this selected, you can go in on here, and you can mask that out. So that way the clouds only affect the top. Alright, click save. Now let's add a new group. And we're going to name this group adjustment. And let's add a new layer. Go here to our color palette. Type in 127, 127. Fill it in. Alt delete the shortcut. And then go to filter, noise, add noise. About 10%. Just click OK. Changing the blending mode to soft light. But now if you look at it, it's kind of too much. So let's bring it down to 30. Let's try 40. How about 40? 40 looks good. Alright, save that. Go down here. We're going to add a adjustment layer. Select color balance. And what we're going to do is try to add a blue tint to the overall image. So with the midtone selected right here, let's bring our slider to the left. Let's add in some darker blues. Alright. Before, after. That looks good. Now let's go down here back to our background. And with the cloud selected, let's bring the opacity all the way up. Alright, that looks better. Since we added the color balance, you can see it lightening up the sides a little bit. So that's the reason why I came back down here to the clouds and just bring the opacity all the way up. Alright. Now since we got our background, our main image in there, our adjustment, now we can start compositing. So let's add the cop car and all the shadows and everything else. Alright, let's go to our stock photos. Now let's open the cop car. crop this out, just use the pen tool. Shortcut for that is letter P. And I'm start down here. Alright. And instead of cropping out the whole thing, we already know that we can use only half of the car. So we just crop half of it out. Again, just hold Command or Control. You can always move this around. Alright. Now just go in here. Just crop this out. Alright, that should be good. Just right click, make selection, 0, click OK. Just hit Command J, and just right click, bring it into our main PSD. You can save this or close it. I'm going to close it out. Alright, let's group this. Name this car. Bring it up to right there. Alright, first adjustment you want to make to the car, change the levels. So hit Command L. And with the middle slider, just bring to the right. What we're trying to do is darken the car to match everything else. Save that. Alright, that looks good. Now let's add some shadows underneath the ATV and underneath the cop car. So go down here to the cop car. Make sure that's selected. Hold Command. Select that image. Then it will make a selection. Create a new layer. Fill that in with black. Make sure black is selected right there. Shortcut Alt Delete. Command D to select. Bring that down underneath that layer. Hit Command T. Bring the top down. About to right there, so you can still see the ground over there. Alright, with the shadow selected, go to Filter, Blur. I'm going to add a little bit of Gaussian blur. So about 7 pixel, that should be good. And change the blending mode to soft light. Let's see. Alright, duplicate one more time. And we're going to keep this part, but we're going to erase this part. So hit the letter E. That brings up the eraser tool. And we just erase that. We just want to keep that one. Alright, save that. And go to our main image. Same thing. With that selected, hold Command. Select that. It'll make a selection. Create a new layer. Fill that in with black. Bring that underneath it. Hit Command T. And we'll bring that down. Box it right there. And then hit Command F. And make it blurry. Go over here. Change that to soft light. Again, duplicate again. Actually, just delete those two. Keep this one. Just bring the opacity down just a little bit. And the shadow where it's going to be the darkest is where the tires are touching the ground. Everything else, it should be able to see the street. So let's zoom in, create a new layer, and then with the brush tool, we're going to paint in the shadow with the color black. Make sure the black is selected. So right here will be the darkest. And just over here. Paint like this, 'cause that's where the tire's at. Alright, now hit Command F. It'll apply the Gaussian blur. So with that, you can move it around. Alright, that looks good. So you can see before with just one shadow, then we added the extra one. Alright, now we're gonna add some shadows on the tire and on the cop car. So same thing, go up here to the main image, hold Command, select that, it'll make a selection, create a new layer, fill that in with black. Then this time we're going to erase. So bring up the eraser tool. We're going to start from up here. So we want this shadow just affecting certain area. So let's shrink the brush size or eraser size. Erase the tire. And then change that blending mode to soft light. You can see before, after. Alright, same thing to the cop car. Go down here, Command, select, make a selection. Create a new layer, fill that in with black. Bring up the eraser tool. You can enlarge that just a little bit. And we just erase from the top. Oops, I'm gonna undo. So we just want the shadow affecting this and a little bit of the tires and down there. So bring that up to about 70 or down to 70. Save that. Let's try soft light, see how that looks. Alright, I think that looks better. So keep that at 100 and change the blending mode to soft light. So you see before and after. Alright. Now let's create the motion effect on the tires, like the spinning, and also on the cop tire. So let's do that. Alright, to create the motion effect on the cop car, just go down here and select the cop car. Go over here to your selection tool, make sure the circle one is selected, and then bring the cursor right in the middle, hold shift and alt, and what this can do is start from the center and create a perfect circle when you drag it out. And with that selected, hit Command J. So it's going to make a duplication. So if you disable that, you can see it has just the rims. Now you want to go to Filter, Blur, Radio Blur, and make sure it's on spin. Bring the amount up to about 13. Let's see how that looks. Click OK. Oops. Before you do that, hold Command, select that. So make sure the selection, or actually hit Command D. Go back to your selection tool. Same thing, go to the center, Shift and Alt. Just bring it up just a little bit. Make sure that's selected. Now go to Filter, Blur, and then Radio Blur. Click OK. And instead of trying to make it, because what happened before was it was trying to make the blur, but the center was right here, so everything was all blurry like this. But if you select just this, then the center is right here. Alright, if you want to create more blur, just hit Command F. It'll apply it. Command D to deselect. Now see before, after. And you could even duplicate it. See if you rotate it. To bring down the opacity. I don't know if that makes a difference or not. Alright, I think that looks good. Just leave it like that. I'm gonna delete that. Alright, and for this tire, since everything is not centered like the cop car, with this we're gonna have to manually blur everything out. So to do that, let's create a copy. I'm gonna disable that just in case we mess up and we want to come back to it. So to manually do this, go over here to the smudge tool, and then make sure the strength's set to, let's try 80. Just bring the size down a little bit. Now on the tire, just smudge it back and forth. Alright, you can see that's too much. Let's bring it down to 50. Now I'm click undo. Let's try 30. Let's go over here. Also out here. So basically when you blur it, you just want to blur around it like this. Don't go left and right. Fix this right here. Alright, delete that. Bring back the old one. Alright, let's try something. Let's try with this. Same thing like we did to the other one. Let's go to filter, blur. Alright, Command F again. See how that looks. I think that looks good. Yep, looks better than the other one. So save it. Alright, let's try this tire. On the original one, I didn't do this tire, but let's see how it looks like. Oops. And then we should move it first. Hit Command F. Nope, looks good. Alright, and if you want to do this tire, select the metal, Shift, Alt, bring that up, and instead of hitting Command F to apply it, hit Command J first, hold Command, select this, and it will only select that, then hit Command F, then it'll make that radial blur, Command D to deselect, and go down here on the mask, invert the mask, go over here, select the white, make sure the brush is selected, and we're just going to paint in, or we just mask in the tires only, and then right here. So now it's only adding the effect to the tires and not the whole front of the bike. Alright, that looks good. Now let's add the smoke coming out, the exhaust, and then smoke around the tires with the debris, smoke over here, and then we're going to add the tire tracks. So let's do that. Alright, let's go to our stock photos. And let's open up smoke 1. And let's change the size of this to about 500. And let's bring it into our main PSD. Close this. Don't save. Let's bring it up here. Actually, leave it in the main group. And put it into another group. Name the smoke. And let's rotate this. Shrink it a little bit. And zoom in. And we're going to rotate it until the smoke aligns with the pipe and until the size of the pipe, the opening, is the same size as the smoke. So just a little bit. That should be good. Change the blending mode to screen. And right now you can still see some of the dark area right here. So to change that, to adjust that, hit Command L or Control L. And with the middle slider, bring it to the right. And bring the white slider up. Actually, just cancel that. Bring it up again, Command L. Just move the black slider till it's gone. Alright, now you don't see it no more. So basically what we did is we adjust the black until it's all the way black. So when it's on screen blending mode, you won't see it. Alright. With that smoke still selected, hit the mask, go over here to our brush, and then make sure the hardness is all the way down, size up a little bit. Then make sure the black selected. And then shrink the size, zoom in, and then we just mask out. Right there. Alright, now let's go back to our stock photos and open up smoke. Then we need Command Alt I, or you could go Image, and then select image size, change this to 900, and we'll bring this into our main PSD. Close this, you don't have to save it. And first thing you want to do is change the blue tint to white. So hit Command Alt and the letter U. It'll bring up the hue and saturation, or you go to Image, Adjust, Hue, Saturation. And you should bring the saturation all the way down. Just click OK. And change the blending mode to screen. Hit Command T. I'm going to shrink it. So we're going to shrink it so the size of the smoke right here wraps around the tires. Once it looks good, hit enter. Go down here, click the mask, hit the letter B, bring up the brush, and make sure the hardness is all the way down, and then make sure over here the black selected. If you want to do shortcut, hit the letter X and bring the black up. If you hit the X again and bring the white, so that's shortcut to toggle back and forth. So make sure the black selected and the mask is selected. Go in here, just mask out the smoke. Just go to opacity, bring it down just a little bit, 46. See before and after. Alright, now looks good. And now you want to bring the same smoke, hit Command J, duplicate it. over here. So that's that smoke. Go to the mask. I'm hit the letter X, make sure white selected. And then when you select the mask, fill that in with white. So now you can see there's no mask to it. So we can adjust it. Hit Command T, bring it up. Again, make sure that's wrapped around the tire. And then select the brush. We're gonna mask it out. Hit letter X. Make sure the black right here is selected. Just bring it down a little bit. Before, after. Let's bring the opacity down, see how that looks. Alright. Looks good. Alright, one more thing. Let's add some shadows underneath the tires. So go back to the cop car. See. So underneath the cop car, create a new layer. Make sure the black selected. Go down here. I'll just go up here, bring the opacity all the way up. And then go to filter, blur, Gaussian blur. We'll do about 3.9. Let's see. Hit Command T, just bring it in just a little bit. Hit Command F, just blur it a little bit. So that's before, after. Alright, then one more adjustment to the cop car is you want to make the windows transparent just a little bit. So here's the cop car. To do that, use the pen tool. And then we should mask this out. So here's the steering wheel. We can keep that in there. And that's the mirror on the other side. We're going to keep that. So we just mask it like that. Right click, make selection. Keep it at 0. And hit Command Shift J. So what that does is bring the selection onto a new group. And with that selected, just bring the opacity down. About 60. So now you can still see the city in the back. Alright. Now let's bring in the tire tracks. So go to our stock photos. Open the tire tracks. So right click. Bring this into our main PSD. Close that. Here's our, so that's the main. And one more thing. Bring the smoke. So that one, bring that into the group of the car. Let's group that. Name that smoke. So now it's on that group. So just in case you want to move the whole thing, is in that group. And then the tire tracks, bring that into the main. But make sure that it's underneath everything. So let's group that. Name that tire tracks. Then what we're going to do is hit Command T, rotate it. Bring it underneath this one. Hit Command T again. Right click. Select Skew. And then we're going to bring it just right there. Or actually, oh no, that's good. Hit Command T again. Right click. Click Perspective. And we'll bring this side down just right there. Duplicate that again. Actually, I'm gonna undo everything. So duplicate that, bring that up, then merge these two. So now it's on one layer. Now what you want to do, hit Command T, right click, click Skew, right click Perspective, then right click Warp, and then we should bring it up. We just want to arc it just a little bit. Right click, Distort. Now we should make it look like it's laying on the ground. Make that smaller. Now hit Enter. Change the blending mode to multiply. And then select the whole group, the main group, and then bring it underneath the car. So now the tire tracks and everything else is underneath the car. And then next, let's bring in the debris. Let's open debris number 2. And then just hit, or just right click, bring it into the main PSD. Close that. And you can see right here. Hit Command T, you can just rotate it. Then this one, we're going to add it in the main group. But we want it underneath him, but on top of the shadows. So let's group these two. Name that shadow. Group this. Name that debris, so we know where everything is at. Just group that. Name that main. So we got the smoke, the main object, debris, shadow, tire tracks. Alright, now it should be easier to work with. So we have one here. Let's duplicate the group. Bring the copy all the way up on top of the smoke. This one we're going to shrink it just a little bit. Rotate it. So it looks like it's coming off the tires. Now let's go back to our main or our stock photos. Open this one. You just duplicate to the main PSD. Close that out. See how that looks. This one, shrink it a little bit. bring it down to where the tire is at. So that one looks good. And on this debris, the small one, just duplicate that one. And then we're going to bring that into the cop car. So you bring that above the smoke. So this, if you disable the main, so we bring the debris around to right there. You can shrink it. Alright, that should be good. You don't want to add too much. We just want to keep the main. You want to keep most of the debris and the particles over here on the tire. Because when you look at it, this is where your eyes go to. Alright, that looks good. Now the last thing is adding the light behind him, on top of him, the lights on the car, the headlights, and the lights on the ATV. So let's do that. Alright, so let's create the glow behind him. So go down. Let's go down here, create a new layer above the background but underneath the main. So let's group that, name that glow, and select your brush. Make sure the hardness is all the way down. Size up just a little bit, about to right there. So about 98 pixels. Then make sure the white selected, and we can paint in once. Oops, paint in once. Change that blending mode to soft light, and now we can move it around. Actually, let's delete that. Let's go down here to our background of the city, and with our selection tool, make sure the circle one selected, and we're going to select the brightest part of the sky or the clouds. So that one. So hit Command J, and we're going to bring this into the glow. And you can see this is the one that we selected. Go to Filter, Blur, Gaussian Blur. About 26 pixel until we get something like that. Then change that to, let's try linear dodge. Try vivid light. Alright, I think vivid light's much better. So we're going to duplicate that. Increase it just a little bit, bring it over here. But what you want to do is just decrease the opacity just a little bit, so about 38 before, after. And on this glow, you can duplicate that, bring that down over here. Save that. And if you want, let's try to colorize it, give it a blue tint. So keep that at 50, and the tint about 185. So check it out. It's blue instead of red and orange. And you want to do it to this one too. Hit Command Alt letter U, and that's gonna give it the same tint. Click OK, and you can see it. Now let's duplicate the group and just bring this above the main image in the car. And the one on the right, this one, you don't need that, so delete that. The only one you want to keep are these two right here. So let's disable one, work with this one, but change that to screen. Let's decrease the size. And on this one, we want to keep this, but we want to get rid of the top right here. So first, let's lower the opacity to about 61, and go to eraser tool. Let's bring it down a little bit. Make sure the hardness is all the way down, and just erase the top. So we just want to keep this right here and not have it like a perfect circle. And then this one, let's delete that. We're going to duplicate this one, Command J, and we're going to rotate this to the other side. And then this one, let's duplicate that and rotate it. Bring it down here. Alright, that should be good. Just name this glow. So here's the before, after. So nothing too crazy, just a little bit. And then go down to the main. We're going to create the lights for the headlights. Let's create a new group. Name this Headlights. Create a new layer. Select a brush. Make sure the hardness is all the way down. And for the color, I'm going to select a kind of dark yellow tint. Click OK. We're going to make a selection once. Go down here, select the white, and let's decrease the size of the brush. Select that once. So now you move it around, you can see it. Change that to linear dodge. And with this one, just hit Command T, and we're going to squeeze the width just a little bit and rotate it to the same angle. So that looks good. And duplicate that, bring that to this one. And let's duplicate the headlights. Or actually, let's create a new one for the car. So go down here or up here to the car. Create a new folder. Name that Headlights. Same thing, create a new group or a new layer. Select the brush. And then this time, instead of yellow tint, we're going to make that blue. Let's increase it. And then click once. Decrease it. And make sure that's white. Paint that in. Now you move it, you can see the blue. Same thing, linear dodge. And you shrink that. As you can see, this one is a different tint than that. So just hit Command Alt letter U, or go to Image, Adjust, Hue Saturation. Click Colorize. Just bring it up to 50. And just bring the slider. So now the same, that same blue tint. See, let me change it to screen. See how screen look like. Looks good. I'm gonna duplicate that, shrink that. Duplicate again, move it down. Duplicate again. And we can duplicate that again. And instead of blue, we could change the saturation. Hue and saturation to red. So colorize, 50, bring that to red. Just duplicate it again. One more time. Alright, let's see. So these 6, let's select those. So we got the 6 selected. Go to layer, go to align, and then hit the center. So now everything is aligned in the center. Hit Command T and rotate the whole thing. Now all of it's aligned, kind of slanted, but it looks better than how we had it before. Just enable that one again. Oops, this one. This one you could bring up the height, rotate it. Just make it look oval. Alright, that looks good. Now let's go back to the ATV and we're gonna add some shine, some headlight shine. So go down here to the headlights. See these two. So create a new layer. Select the lasso tool. I'm going to select up here and go down here, and then we'll fill that in with a yellowish tint, kind of white but a little bit of yellow tint. So to fill that in, hit Alt Delete, and then now just go to Filter, Blur, Gaussian Blur. So about 9.5 pixel. Go down here, select the mask, go to our gradient, and make sure both of this is black. Make sure this is still selected. And start from here. Select that, bring it all the way down there. And right now it's kind of too strong. So what you want to do is just bring the opacity down. It looks good, about 46. And instead of making another one, just duplicate that. And then just bring this one on this side. And you can see the line right there. Let's go back to our gradient tool. Make sure that's selected. Both is black. That's selected. The mask right here is selected. Same thing. Oops. Let's go back to our gradient tool. Alright, that looks good. So you can see before, after. And then the same thing for the headlights for the cop car. Let's go up to the car, to our headlights, create a new layer, select the lasso tool, start from right here, And then you can fill that in. Instead of yellow tint, you can make it a blue tint. Alt delete to fill it in. Command D to select. Hit Command F. It will blur it. Go over here to the mask. Go to our gradient. Make sure the mask is selected with our gradient tool. Same thing. And then change the blending mode to linear dodge. This is how it looks before. This is how it looks now. Looks good. Alright, one thing. Let's hit Command T. Let's shrink it right now because the headlight looks like it's too high. Bring that up. Actually, let's delete this whole thing. Just create a new layer. Same thing, lasso tool. I'm gonna start right here. Headlights go down here. Maybe shine up to just right there. Same thing, fill it in with the blue tint. Command D. Deselect. And then Gaussian blur. This time we should add just a little bit, not too much. About 2.6. Select the mask. Select the gradient. Make sure both is black. Change the blending mode to linear dodge. Alright, and go down here to this light with that glow. Duplicate that. Zoom in. I'm gonna create two, kind of like two light bulbs. So here's one. Duplicate that. I'm gonna create a smaller one. That won't be on the corner. Alright, that looks good. So let's check it out. That's before, after. And that's pretty much it. That's how you create the design for this one. And if you want to add some more contrast to the overall image, what I would do is go to our adjustment, create a new layer. Actually, let's go select black and white, and then change that blending mode. Hold up, click undo. Over here, select black and white. And then change the blending mode to soft light. Bring it all the way down. And slowly bring it back up. So as you can see, before, after. So if you like this, leave like this. If not, then you could add the black and white and change that to soft light. And let me see. There's one more thing too. Over here I noticed the sidewalk is kind of bright. Check our original. Yeah, it's a little bit darker. So to adjust that, let's go down here to our background. And then let's create a new layer above everything. Grab the gradient tool. Make sure both of this is black. And then from left to the right, So basically, just adding a gradient to the left, and just bring the opacity down just a little bit. So you can see before, after, and then now you can go back to adjustment layer, to this one. I'm gonna keep it off. I'm gonna leave it like this. Looks good. Actually, I like how it looks right here. So let's select the gradient, and on this we're gonna mask that out. So now it's only applying it to the right. Let's see. Yep. Looks good. So basically that's how you create the design for this one. Alright, I forgot to add one more thing on here, and that is the atmosphere smoke. So open this, right click, bring it into the main PSD, and we're going to bring this underneath the adjustment, name that atmosphere, and change the blending mode to screen, and shrink it just a little bit. This one we're going to add to the left, duplicate that, just add a little bit to the right, and that's it. So I think that's everything.